Okay, ladies, let's start card number 2. Well, this one I call Mountain Air Circle card. In addition to your Mountain Air stamp set and the Majestic Mountain dies, I also used Feels at Home stamp set from the Celebration Choices this month, and it has a nice little thing that sentiment that says, "I can't thank you enough." Here is what the stamp set looks like, and I'm really enjoying it. I think it will look really nice. This is "Missing You," "I can't thank you enough," "Your friendship feels like home to me," "I'm always and forever here for you," cute little fern, a cute little plant, and a really nice, warm, inviting kind of theme image on there that can be colored in. So I just used the "I can't thank you enough" for this card, for this little strip down here. You're going to need some gray granite cardstock, which you'll need a piece. That's for your card base. It's the standard 8.5 by 5.5, scored and folded at 4 1/4. All right, and then you'll need a piece of Mossy Meadow cardstock that is 5 1/4 by 4, and you're going to cut 3 of the large trees out of the center of it from the Majestic Mountain dies. And then you're going to use a piece of the In Good Taste Designer Series paper. Again, this time I used up some of the wood textures paper that I had from years gone by, but you can definitely use the In Good Taste Designer Series paper, which is a nice stack of 24 double-sided sheets of paper. You need some basic white cardstock, enough to cut 3 stitched circles out of, which are included in your kit. You need a Berry Vanilla. I used on the inside layer. It is a thank you card, and I'm going to leave it blank, but you could just as easily use basic white in there if you didn't have Berry Vanilla. So I cut the 3 stitched circles right here, and then I have that little strip, which is 1/2 inch by 3 7/8. All right, and that is the same width as your wood piece. Your wood piece is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. All right, this, I think that's all. Of course, you're going to need some black Memento ink. You're going to need some crumb cake. You're going to need some Mossy Meadow ink. You'll also maybe want to use your markers in those matching colors, and a sponge dauber for the sky. And remember that mask that we made for card number 1, you're going to use it again for this one here. And then your kit will come with the 3 cutout trees and some black gems and the 3 Mossy Meadow circles and the 3 stitched circles framelets. Alright, so let's get going. And the first thing we're going to want to do on this card is to put the inside layer in. If you want, you can stamp a sentiment in here that goes with thank you. When I do thank yous, I normally like to just write something in there myself that deals with the particular job that I'm thanking them for or the particular circumstance. But if it's more generic, you can stamp something in there with a generic kind of thank you sentiment other than thank you. Alrighty, so that's our inside. Then on the outside, the first layer down is going to be our Mossy Meadow layer. And that's how you conserve paper, folks. You can use the stencils from your cutout of your trees to make a really nice layer for your card layer. All right, when you cut those out, you see how close they're going to have to be together so that you have enough of the paper left over to make the nice border that you want. So we're going to center this as carefully as possible. And it's kind of fragile because of all the cutting out that we did on the inside, but I will try to maintain that as best I can. I think that's all right, but not really perfect. Let's see if I can try again. Sometimes this will come up and sometimes it won't. I think the type of paper that I'm using, the glue is going to come up easily enough on me to correct this. Yes. So let's try that again. There we go. We'll get this side down and the rest of it should follow, but yeah, it's better. Much better. I like it. I like it. Now we're going to take our wood grain piece. So you pick whichever side you want. You can also pick a darker piece of wood from your designer series paper pack. I'm trying to use a paper that I wouldn't necessarily use for anything else. So I am using this little bit of lighter one here. And this does not have any twine around it, so you can just lay it right down on there, and it's a little 1/16 of an inch border. Alright, okay, then the next thing is there is a piece of granite gray. Again, it is 2 1/4 by 4 1/4, and it just gets mounted to the upper right hand corner of that card, and I like to leave a little 1/4 inch border, and so I put it right up here like this, make it even on the side and the top like so. Alrighty, I use a corner of a piece of scrap paper here. We're going to put a little bit of glue on that paper, and we're going to take a sponge dauber and daub into that, and we're going to take one of our trees and we're going to find the right side and the wrong side. You know that the right side of a tree has a smoother edge to it. It's kind of like, I'm going to say it's rounded over a little bit. So I'm going to put my glue on the back side of that. And I'm just going to take this and sponge. I'm going to need a little more because I didn't plan on that very well. It dried faster than I could get to it. There we go. Now we're going to sponge the back of this tree. And then you won't have so much issue with excess. and the tree will just stick on there nicely. And you just want to make sure the tree trunk is straight, and that you put that tree right on there. Okay, and then the middle tree, same thing. Check to make sure everything is poked out. And let's see. You see that the glue is actually picking up some color from use on the tree. But that's good. That's just fine. Get some down there on the trunk. This one goes higher up and over here. Crosses over just a hair. And this last one, same thing. Put the glue on. And that should be enough. Oop, this one is not going to show as much, so you can kind of put it so that its bottom kind of occupies this space over here. All right. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to stamp this strip. And we're going to use that I Can't Thank You Enough from the Feels Like Home Celebration set. I do believe it is a $50 redemption. So if you spend $50, you can get this stamp set for free until the end of September. And I'm going to stamp it to the left, all the way to the left, because we're going to have those gems on the right. Alrighty, so that's all for now on that one. And then this strip gets put across the bottom about half, just so that there's a nice little border between that upper paper and this one. That's a little bit crooked, Robin. A little bit. And try again. That's better. Perfect. And now the last thing we're going to do on that is we're going to put these 3 gems on. And you can use your pokey tool, you can use your take your pick tool, you can use tweezers, you can use fingernails, you can use whatever you want to get those on there. These were gems that I purchased specifically for this project. Stampin' Up doesn't sell black ones, but you could color some gems with your black blender pen or Sharpie. Coloring on gems kind of layers out your tip on your blender pen, so I would get a dedicated Sharpie for doing that kind of stuff if you want to make black gems. Alright, so that's all for this right now. So we're going to move on to working on the circles. Alright, so put that off to the side. Put my sample here so I can see what I'm doing. Alrighty, so the first one, which is this one here, has got a tree that looks like it's coming up from behind the mountain. So we're going to stamp the mountain, and then we're going to mask the mountain and stamp the tree. So we're going to take a look at our mountain and kind of see how far up it needs to be. So it needs to go in kind of this position here. and almost down to the bottom. All right, down to the bottom would probably be just fine, down to the bottom, just the bottom edge down there. And we're going to stamp that with, this time we're going to stamp with black Memento and then color it in with our colors. And we only need to ink up the right hand side of this stamp, because the left hand side of the stamp becomes the right hand side of the stamp when you turn it over, right? All right, I love to confuse people sometimes. All right, so we're going to stamp this low toward the bottom of the circle, and we're going to try to get it pretty close to the bottom there. All right. Good. That looks fairly good. Alrighty. And then we're going to take that mask that we had, which I said to remember to keep. There it is. Oh, no, where did I put it? It fell down somewhere. There it is. Okay, this was a nice one. So we're going to mask this over the same way we did previously, leaving just a little bit of a line of those mountains showing. And we're going to take our blue sponge dauber and some balmy blue ink. Oh, nope, I told you we were going to stamp that tree first. Do you remember that? Yes, now I do. We're going to stamp that mossy meadow tree first before we stamp our sky. I don't think it really would make a difference. Maybe it would. Let's do the sky first. Just humor me here. I'm sorry. Let's do the sky first, because I remember I had quite a bit of trouble coloring that tree, trying to color the sky next to that tree without smudging the tree. So I think it would be easier to get a nice layer of blue and green ink on top of the blue than it would be to try to get the blue up next to the tree without smudging it. So I think that's what we're going to try. And I just have a thunderstorm of a tree coming in over here. All right. Oh, well, that's not going to be too good. There we are. I'll just tape it together or cut another one. All right, so I didn't need to take that off of there yet, because that is exactly what we need to do. We need to cover that up and mask it. Keep it masked after your tree, after your sky. And then we're going to take our mossy meadow ink and stamp that tree cluster over to the left. Ooh boy, that was a messy one. That would have been disastrous. Okay, let's try this again. Let's do it just like so. Okay. So now we can take the mask off. All right. So it looks like there's two trees behind that mountain. That's what we were going for. And so we need to find now, to finish that, we need to find our crumb cake markers. And I just color them in. I think these markers are great. They can go, you can go fast, pretty fast with them, and get the reaction you want. Now this for me is not dark enough. This is the light crumb cake. So I'm going to get out the dark crumb cake and go for it with the dark. which I think is the color is a little bit more appropriate to this theme than the light. So there we go. Okay, so there we are. And I see one little place that my Balmy Blue did not cover that I want to just touch up real quick. Right there. Okay. And then you can take a little bit of this and make some patterns like there's lighter and darker sky. Kind of makes it look a little bit more natural, I think. And maybe I just messed it all up, but that's the way I'm going to do it, just like so. Alright. You can decide whether you like that or not. So that's picture number 1. Then we're going to take picture number 2. And the mountains again. And the crumb cake card stamp again. Ink pad again. And we're going to stamp this time. We're going to stamp up the ink on the middle of the stamp. Okay, so we're not going to use those first 2 mountains. We're going to try to start this one so that the mountains are down low, but they are starting with this little mountain that you see, which you can't see because I moved you down too far. Let's see, it's going to be, if I can move you up there. There. It's going to start with that mountain on the left. Alrighty, and I'm going to bring the other color cardstock back in here so that you can see better. No, not that one. This one. Okay. There we go. Oh. And the center one does not have any additional trees, but it does have the ability to be masked by this mask. I need to take the stickiness off of here. Oof. There we go. And put it over here so that we can hold our mask down. And the same thing, we want to leave a little edge of that color exposed. And really, this should have been done in the black ink. I don't know why I did it in the crumb cake. Should have been done in the black to match the first one. But, you know, one of those things that I do. I could possibly see if I can stamp over it. Let's try. And if I can't, then I'll probably be restarting the video. Alright, so let's clean off the stamp. We'll see what I do. I'll either fix it up or mess it up. One of the two. And looks pretty straightforward there. How about that? Let's see what comes out. Sort of okay. Wasn't lined up very well though. It's not getting inked very well either. That's part of the problem. And there. I think that's got it. Better. Okay. Kind of looks like a little blurry. Then we're going to take and cover up the sky like I said. Cover up the mountains so we can sponge the sky with the balmy blue and the dauber, which I threw somewhere. There it is. So that's supposed to be stamped with tuxedo black ink. Alright, kind of model looking sky there. I think that looks pretty natural. And then we're going to put some trees up there in the air. Birds up in the air, not trees in the air. Make sure they're flying the right height. Over to the left of the mountain, or to the right of the mountain. Very good. There. Now we're going to pull the mask off. And take our dark crumb cake marker again. And color this all in. It should look a little less blurry once this is colored in, because I have sort of dissolved the first stamp by applying this color. Alright, well, it doesn't look too bad. Alright, so that's image number 2. Yes, looks okay. I would put that on one of my own cards. Now, the last one, image number 3, is going to use black Memento ink, and the far right side of that stamp, actually the left side when you're looking at it here, when you're inking it up. So it's this side over here. And this one is pretty much the same system. It's stamped over here. It's a little high. Oops, that didn't cover too well right there. I'm going to cover that. There we go. And I did just re-ink these. Okay, so a little higher up. And let's see, about there, I think. We'll do good. Alrighty. And then we're going to clean this one off and take it off the block. We are done with this particular one for this particular card. We're going to get the tree line again, which we are just going to mount up on the other side of the block so I don't have to keep on taking them off. Alright, and we're going to use the detailed side of it, Mossy Meadow ink, and we're going to use kind of, you can decide what portion of the stamp you're going to use after you ink it up here. Right. Oh, you know what? We're just going to leave that set there for a minute because we're going to color the mountains first this time, because the trees need to, and we're going to use the dark. Dark. No, this is the dark. Okay. We're going to use the dark crumb cake. I have not had any one of these go dry on me yet from use, but I have had them arrive dry in the package. So if you have them and you have not used them, please check to make sure they are not dry. And then you can call Stampin' Up, or I can call for you and get them replaced. They should not arrive, but if you don't use them in a long time, I would say after a year, you may have issues with them drying out, just like any other marker. Okay, so there we go. And now we're going to take that last mask on the left of this beautiful stamp. Whoop. Okay, and we're going to mask that off just like we've done before, leaving a little bitty bit of an edge, and it isn't quite right, so let's try again. And we're going to leave that bit of an edge, yes. Okay, and then we're going to get our blue sponge dauber, balmy blue ink, and on this one I'm going to leave some spots not covered for white cloud purposes, just to make it look as natural as I possibly can. Alright, just to make it look a little different than the other one, so that the sky's not all the same. Well, do what you like, but I'm leaving it like that. Alright. Down here on the bottom, we're going to color that in with Mossy Meadow after we stamp our trees. You know, these trees, the stamp was inked up and sitting there for a while, so I'm going to huff on it. So that it's nice and wet. And then I'm going to stamp some trees just right there at the bottom. Like so. And instead of coloring that in with water at the bottom, you could if you wanted to make it look like water. Might be a nice idea. But I took the Mossy Meadow Stampin' Blend and once again colored it in down here on the bottom, so it looks like plains, grasslands coming up to the base of the mountain. Put that there. Alright, and then I also took a black regular marker, basic black marker, and I made some trunks on these trees and maybe some stick figure kind of branches just to make them look like they were a real tree instead of a blob of green. Okay, make them stand out just a little bit more. Alrighty, so now you have your 3 circles. You still want to save that mask. You have your 3 circles. We're going to put them on their backgrounds. We're going to have number 1 here. And I use the stitched circles framelits, or the stitched shapes framelits, and I use the circles. And then I use the layering circles to make the background circle, which you could just as easily use a punch. And quite centered like I wanted it to be. That's a little better. Yeah. And then the middle one. Same thing. There's a little bit of glue sticking out there. There we go. Alrighty. And since this one looks, to me, up close, it looks a little blurry, I'm going to take the black marker and color in this side of the mountain slope so it doesn't look like I misstamped as badly as I did, because I'm still not satisfied with it. I think that's a little better. So make sure you stamp that with black to begin with, and you won't have that issue. Alright. And then this is the middle. Is this the middle? No, this is not the middle. This is the bottom. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do when we put these on the card is we're going to put the top and the bottom one on. Alright, because the middle one kind of floats. So make sure you put the one with the tree up on the top, because otherwise the tree gets hidden by the overlap here, which I made the mistake on a card previously. I was going to show it to you, but it's not right where it needs to be in order to do that. So we're going to take a couple dimensionals on this card, or on this image. And again, I may use a lot of the little ones because the big ones are kind of hiding from me. And then the bottom one. And on the one that goes in the middle, I would only put one dimensional, usually a large one, right in the middle. So that's what I am going to do, only with the little ones I'm going to put two right next to each other in the middle. Okay. And then we're going to start peeling. Peeling, peeling, peeling. Peeling is appealing? Maybe. Come on here. Don't fail me now, fingernail. Wow. Okay. I think the thing actually turned over, the sticky backing, and it's only waxy on one side. There we go. Alright, take a look at them in the light and see that this one is not shiny, so it still has its back on them. All the others are shiny. And so on the card, we're going to put it so the top of the circle meets the top of the layer, and the side of the circle meets the layer. So just like that's the bottom image. This is the top image. See, I almost buried our tree again. I have to remember that the tree goes up in the top left corner, the one with the tree. You'll have to let me know whether you think you like just getting a tape, a videotape of the class is better than doing Zoom. Okay, Now down here at the bottom, you want to make sure this side of the circle touches the layer, and this little bottom here just dips down over the word enough. Just like so. Okay. Then this center one, you're going to know that over here it's just going to glue right on there, and we're going to put some Tombow over here and some Tombow over there. And I think Tombow is the best for the job, like so. And then we're going to remove the backing off those center dimensionals, and we're going to hold our card up and place it so that it looks pleasing to our eye and straight in line with the other two. I'm going to hold that down a little until the glue sets, and then that's your finished card. And let me see that first. Yes, the gems are on, the sentiment is on, and the inside piece for writing is on. Okay, so that's the end of card 2.